good evening and welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. Monday night, myself and Michael Gannon will be joined later in the show by resident ref Des Roache. We've got a lot of issues to discuss there. But anyway, how's your swimming, Mick?
Aye. Listen, I've got the treadmill. It's been put down, not mind the wild swimming. Talk about getting into the deep end myself.
Stop this.
Yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to the Hotline Live team bonding night out. I'm still waiting for that one. We're all getting good for morale with the team, Keith.
Oh, I think you'll find that I'll organise one for the Europa League final, Michael. Have you forgotten already?
No, I was hoping we can go to time capsule or something like
that. for those that may have missed it, obviously it's confirmed that Russell Martin, after a very difficult weekend at Ibrox for the manager and for his players, took his squad on a sort of bonding session to Loch Lomond. Today they did some hill walking, they swam in the loch, and I thought the biggest surprise for me, Mick, was that Nico Raskin made the squad.
Aye, somebody said they climbed up Chronic Hill.
There's a lot flying about. There's one or two.
See if they won 5 games in the bounce, did this, nobody would bat an eyelid. They'd be like, "Oh, this is great for morale."
Exactly, that is true.
It's because it's the way, it's the context. It just opens them up to more kind of ridicule, isn't it? Really,
it does. And the suggestions that what did they do after that? Go for a hot yoga lesson, or
it's things like that. It's like, listen, they've only scored 1 goal in open play or something like that all season. Can they go work on that rather than going climbing hills and jumping in Loch Lomond? Take the high jump rather than the high road and all this kind of stuff. So it opens them up to kind of the usual kind of gags and all that stuff. And it's only because of the results. It's simple as that. And it just adds to this, doesn't it? Really. I don't think Russell Martin's now at the point where he can't do anything right, really. No. Apart from, I think all he can do is win games. That's all he can try to do. Everything else is just going to look like adding to the kind of chaos, isn't it?
I mean, look, and this is a savage part of the world, isn't it? And we talk about the pressure that's on managers and players and all the rest of it, but it's a tough school. I think there was something on Twitter that I saw earlier on today which kind of sums up the current mood. I don't know if we've got you.
No. See, it's pretty brutal, isn't it? Really,
it's brutal.
I'm at the point now. I'm actually starting to feel a lot of sympathy for Russell Martin. I know he's not doing a great job, but he's getting absolutely hounded. I mean,
I don't think he's helping himself, Mike. I think he's dealing with stuff. There's a real hint, more than a hint, of arrogance about the way that he's speaking about fans, speaking about the situation, even addressing guys in press conference rooms. I don't think he's helping himself, and he's trying to convince people that black is white in many aspects, and it's just not going to wash here.
Yeah, he is in the kind of the listen. We've seen many managers we've seen coming in and walking back out again. We've seen millions through the years, and he is very much at the kind of the pants in the head, finger pens up the nose case right now, isn't he? I mean, it's just
it is a little bit
holes, and it's he's floundering big time. But I said it can't be easy. Listen, he's under immense pressure. I mean, was it worst start in 47 years, 48 years or something like that. It's just been going from bad to worse for him. Like I said, anything he does now, he's getting ridiculed and it piles on more pressure. So I just don't see any way out for him. That's the thing. Like I don't see how he can turn this around. And I can only see things getting worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's one of our contributors, Thomas Burns, Celtic fan. Thank God Russell Martin is staying. Pray the hands emoji. I mean, that's the territory we're in now. I actually think that Russell Martin, I don't think he can recover. Whatever happens, it's only now just a matter of time. I've said it, he's walking the green mile, managerial terms, Mick. What I'm interested in, and I spoke to Andy Newport about it earlier, and we'll play that. I want your opinion. I've written a column today. I just don't think that Kevin Thelwell can slide into the shadows here or do the Homer Simpson reverse into the bush.
Yeah,
this is his creation. This is on him, and I think he's got a serious credibility issue. And I'm not sure if a decision is taken to pull the trigger on Russell Martin, which seems inevitable now. I'm not sure that Kevin Thelwell can avoid the blast zone on it. I think his position might become untenable because it looks like such a, oh, well, it looks exactly what it is, which is a really, really bad decision.
See, I think a lot of this is going to, a lot of him will kind of will hang on the players that have been brought in. Because at the moment, when hearing things from Russell Martin, like they're getting anxious and all that kind of stuff,
Scared.
And that's alarm bell, scared. When you have to be, you need to have characters playing for Rangers that can withstand the pressure playing for that club. So you think, well, they've signed guys that can't cope with the pressure. That's on the guys signing them and recruiting them. But there's also
that's Thelwell's gig. He designed that post for himself. Yeah. He wants to be the guy that's got the final say in recruitment.
Yeah, but there's also some Rangers fans that think, look at some of these signs and think, you know what, some of these guys on paper look like good players, and it's the manager not getting the best out of them. So therefore, do you think, well, if and when it comes time for Martin to go, which looks, like you say, looks inevitable, the next guy who comes in, he might say, you know what, I can work with some of these guys that have been signed. I mean, you've got guys who are internationals. I mean, Asgard had a great week for Norway. You get Osama started well at one point, kind of drifted at times. Again, Atman the same. There's a few. I mean, you look at Majovski up front, a proven player. So you think maybe there's some good players in there. You think, your boy Cornelius that scored a ripper for Canada last week. That's what a goal that was. He needs to settle in as well. So you think, is it the manager, is it the players, a combination of both? And if it is a combination of both, then everyone needs to carry the can for that to be the case. Do you know what I mean? And also, it's the guy who picks the manager and the guy who recruits the players. So I don't know if you can judge that just now, because it's so malfunctioning under the current manager. That are these players better than they're showing, or is this as good as they get, really? And that's what
I don't know. I look, Mick, and they look like a group of players that don't believe in the instructions that they're being asked to carry out.
That's what I'm saying. Does somebody else get a tune at these guys?
Yeah.
These guys, is this their baseline? Is this just the way they are? And therefore, that's a problem, because it's going to be a hell of a long season if this is the way they are. With relegation stuff, the way it's going. If there is something or someone who can get better at this group of players, then that's a different question. Do you know what I mean? And at the moment, I don't think we know, because it looks like a lot of these players aren't really cutting it. Some of them, I think, look as though they'll get potentially to be good players, but at the moment, they're not performing. So as it stands, they're all on the firing line, like you say. I think there isn't this question is getting asked, because a lot of money's been out the door this first summer.
And if you were Andrew Kavanagh, could you, in all good faith, look at what's happened over the first few months there, and put your trust in Kevin Thelwell to make that choice? That's the point, Mick. That's going to be the crunch issue.
He has put his trust in these guys. Listen,
I know, but do you do it again? If you make the same mistakes over and over, eventually the Rangers fans are going to start aiming their anger at Andrew Kavanagh and the Americans. If they believe that they're falling into the same trap, trusting people that can't be trusted.
Well, I mean, this is the thing that the American owners at Leeds, they're relying on guys on the ground knowing what they're talking about, knowing what they're doing, because they listen, with all due respect, they're coming from America, they're not football people. I mean, Andrew Kavanagh wasn't sitting at 5 years old watching games watching reruns of sports scenes, you know what I mean, from back in the day. So he's relying on these guys on the ground and listen, in believing and trusting in them. It has done at the start. Guys like Patrick Stewart and Thelwell. Unfortunately, these guys will get kind of checkered kind of histories in the game as well at times. You know what I mean? Might talk a good game at times. But he's
a lot of that going about, Mick.
Well, listen, the game's absolutely epidemic proportions with BS guys. But so he's put his trust in them so far. And how long can that last? How long do you go, wait a minute? This is not the vision I'm trying to unroll here. I need to have faith in these guys doing the job. At the moment, it's malfunctioning.
Yeah. Craigie says Martin must go now, along with Thelwell. Various others saying very similar things. Look, I tell you what, Mick, why don't we? I caught up to discuss this very point with Record Sports Andy Newport earlier today. Let's get Andy's take on it. Andy, I'll start with a simple question, nice easy one. Is it possible for Kevin Thelwell and Russell Martin to survive?
Yeah, and it's certainly possible. We've seen stranger things happen. The fact that he's got, he's going to be given another week, he's going to get another chance, of course. If he can somehow get a performance on Saturday against Hibs, then yeah, he can survive. Is that likely? I don't think so. But
And if
definitely a chance for him, whether it's a big chance or not, I'm not so sure.
And if he doesn't, though, Andy, I mean, this is the point. I've written a column in the paper today pointing out where I think Thelwell has to be held accountable for all manner of issues that are around, and not least the appointment of Russell Martin. If Russell Martin falls over after such a short space of time in the job, is Thelwell's position untenable at the club, Andy?
He's certainly in the spotlight. Listen, it makes absolutely comes as no shock to me to see certainly Kevin Thelwell standing behind Russell Martin, because he's, as you say, it's culpable for the mess Rangers find themselves in as the manager, as being the man who appointed them, being the man who, I think we've all said, who disregarded the very loud concerns that the Rangers fans had before this appointment was made. You know, even ourselves in Hotline Live, when Russell Martin's name first came into the conversation back in the summer, we spoke about our own surprise, given his track record.
I think I dismissed it, Andy. I think I said, well, on what possible basis could you give Russell Martin, or would Russell Martin have earned a shot at a job of this size, given what just happened to him at Southampton? On no credible basis did he look like a serious, or like he should have been a serious contender.
I remember just saying that, I remember reading out some of the facts, the very basic facts and figures about his managerial career. I think he came to Glasgow having managed something in the region of 250 games, in which he'd lost as many games as he'd won, and which, for this, as again, I raise the supposed, attacking minded coach, his goal difference was +4. Well, his goal difference now is in minus figures in terms of the Premiership. 5 games in here, yep, small sample size, but as we've said time and time again, there is no evidence that I can see that things are turning around anytime soon. It seems, from everything we've been told, that the club are standing by him and are prepared to give him time. I think it's to his benefit right now that certainly Andrew Cameron and Parag Marathi were not, and even Patrick Stewart was not at the game at the weekend. I think if any of them had witnessed the ferocity of the fury that we saw at the weekend, I think their view might have been changed. And listen, we all said at the start of the season that this might work in their favour. This detachment from Glasgow, the fact that they're not here, having people
having to live and breathe every second.
Little things, but this is a major thing. You've had a record equal in defeat, and you're pretty much staring at a title race being over after 5 games. Now, if you go out to Hibs and that's another trophy out the window, then I'm not really sure how much a leg Russell Martin's got left to stand on at that point. So, so I think that next week crucial for him. But then again, I thought Saturday would have been crucial for him as well. So, maybe the new board are they seem as being bulletproof for the time being, that they're prepared to give him time to get this right. But as I've been saying all along, if it was a decision to be made by supporters, it'd have been gone at least a fortnight ago, if not longer.
I think that the worry is, from the Rangers' perspective, or it should be certainly, and this again comes down to, do they really understand the environment they're in? Because right now they're acting as if they don't really understand it. If they think this is going to go away or fizzle out, they're completely wrong. All that's happening here is anger levels are rising. If they thought Saturday was toxic, it could be that on steroids if the result goes the wrong way against Hibs.
I'm not sure you can say they understand the environment at Ibrox entirely if you're going to appoint somebody like Russell Martin, because I'm not sure that is the fan culture, if you want to call it that way, accepts of a manager. They don't, of a team. They don't, Ibrox, when it's at its best, when it's at its loudest, its noisiest, its most passionate, is when it's got a team going hell for leather and snapping into tackles and getting the ball quickly and creating chances. Ibrox, I can't remember the Ibrox fan base ever been happy to sit there and watch their team knock it about at the back, inviting pressure, inviting, teams to press the goalkeeper, never mind the centre backs. And I think all that does is then lead into this anxiety, which is obviously now bleeding onto the players, bleeding onto the pitch. So
I think
I think culturally you've got to understand what the fan base are like, and I think there's a real question mark over that, whether the new owners, and they should have, because they were here last year, they were there for the St Johnstone game, they saw the protests against Philippe Clement. They've got no excuse for not understanding just how irate the Ibrox support can get when things don't go right.
I think the Rangers fans would be perfectly happy watching a different brand of football that, you know, that Russell Martin had promised, that brand, which was attack-minded and front-footed and aggressive. I don't think there's any problem. I don't think that, you know, I'm using the word Luddites. They're not Luddites. They understand modern football. They understand the concepts involved in it. But what they've seen so far from Russell Martin is all possession and no purpose.
Yeah,
as you said, it's knocking the ball around at the back. They're not going anywhere. They're not driving at people. They're hardly getting a shot away on goal. It's a very confused picture.
It's a high risk. So I'm just going to say it's a high risk strategy for no reward.
Yeah, exactly. It's all risk at the back, and they take no risk up front. It's incredible. But I believe you've got an interview going online tonight with a former Rangers player who's not holding back in his views on it.
No, I spoke with Greg Stewart, who, to my knowledge, I think is the first sort of former player to sort of break ranks and publicly call for Russell Martin to be replaced. He said he just can't get his head around what it is the manager's trying to achieve with this, and the main top line of the story is that he feels that if a change isn't made soon, then another season will be basically written off. This season, if they lose to Hibs, they're looking at a season of complete failure again. So obviously the title race looks beyond them. If you're talking about League Cups, maybe Scottish Cups, their best chance of silverware this season. If Russell Martin is not replaced soon, then he really feels for the team's chances at the weekend. And he says that as much as an ex-player, as a supporter, he grew up supporting the team, a boyhood supporter. And the real sort of damning thing from my point of view that he said was that this is the worst team that he can ever remember playing a Rangers jersey. So listen, you get somebody, it's a guy, okay, didn't play an awful lot, but I think he's got a special place in the fans, the heart of the Rangers fans. He was a member of the title-winning team in 2021. So, this is a guy who's seen success at the club and, saw it under Steven Gerrard, and it made clear that if there was anybody to turn this around, he thinks it's his old boss. He thinks Steven Gerrard should be the first call. In fact, he's even offered to make the introductory call for Andrew Cameron. He said he'll get on the phone to him and get him back if offered.
I look forward to reading it, but I believe everything seems to have sorted itself out anyway, because Russell Martin took the players for a swim in Loch Lomond today, so that'll be fine. I think the biggest surprise about that story was that Nico Raskin made the squad.
I've seen some pictures. He seems to be there. Listen, it's perfect stuff for us. Write more match reports against Hibs this week. It's sink or swim time, isn't it? It's
in at the deep end, etc.
It's all there. It's all there. So, listen, I can understand why he's trying to do it. He's trying to foster some sense of unity. It's not the first time we've seen this. Rangers teams were famed in the olden days for the team that drinks together as a team that wins together.
Yeah, they were consuming the liquid, not swimming in it.
But listen, this is a new age manager we've got and a new age approach. So we'll need to see on Saturday whether or not he can get Rangers out the deep end. Yeah,
nice. Well, I once went white water rafting with Walter Smith, so these things have happened over the years. That was for charity. I don't think Russell Martin and his players are getting much in the look in for charity right now. But Andy, listen, thanks for joining us, mate. And no doubt we'll catch up in the next couple of days.
Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Andy. Yeah.
I'm just laughing. Whitewater rafting Walter Smith says it was Alan Partridge. Matches for a series.
That's what I wrote, Mick. I remember writing the piece and saying this sounds like an Alan Partridge memo. Whitewater rafting with Walter Smith. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes. What was the other, hiking with Chris
Eubank.
Yeah, so that's Rangers. Mick, we'll move on. Thanks very much for all the comments on that section. It remains to be seen how that kind of rectifies itself over the next few days. It does look, Mick, as if Russell Martin will get the opportunity to lead Rangers into a League Cup quarter-final against Hibs, but as one of the comments said there, what happens if he loses that? I don't know. It feels, as we said, inevitable. Now, there's another thing that I wrote a column online about today, Michael, and that is the situation at Celtic. And it feels very much to me, and I know it's difficult because Brendan Rodgers, you were at his press conference. I heard you ask some questions. Obviously, he handled it superbly well, expertly, as you would expect Brendan Rodgers to do. But he seemed to be drawing a big target in the back of Peter Lawwell in the process, albeit he didn't name him. That's what it feels like. It now feels, and this might be completely wrong, but I think anybody just viewing this from the outside in feels like a power struggle, and the two are very unlikely to be able to coexist in the longer term for Celtic, and it feels to me like this is an issue that Dermot Desmond, the principal shareholder, is going to have to get involved in and back one man or the other.
Yeah, it does. It does seem like there's some sort of battle of the big beast behind the scenes, isn't there?
It feels like that.
I mean, listen, as you say, I was there on Friday. Having been at a lot of Brendan Rodgers press conferences, and they're usually entertaining. Friday was just another level. I mean, we were wondering how it was going to go and how he was going to play it. And the first 3 or 4 minutes where the kind of some of us thought might happen, it was very kind of measured, but it was all kind of we'll learn from the lessons, and it was all kind of pretty kind of calm, nothing particularly jumping out. But then the switch get flicked, and it was like, okay, it's popcorn time, and he made 25.
Just went up through the gears.
Yeah, I mean, you could listen. Having been at a lot of these things, and I know sometimes you can get a sense of how he is, and things were starting to open up. And you thought he's going to go here. He is going to just let it all come out, and he did. Not a word out of place. And I genuinely think they'll be showing that video in the SFA coaching courses at Largs for about 20 years. How to conduct a press conference. It was sensational. Just grenades getting dropped all over the place. And it wasn't an admission of names. It was an omission of names, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's what he didn't say.
It was a list. It was a list of good guys. A good guy, good guy.
Michael and Dermot have been brilliant.
Good guy, good guy, good guy, good guy. And like, well, hold on a minute. And listen, he's left himself some plausible deniability by not naming names. I mean, I think, listen, I actually asked him. I says, listen, sounds like you know who this is.
I heard that. And his answer didn't convince anybody.
There was a pause, right? And it was a pause. And I thought, he's going to do it. He's going to say it. And then he said, no. And I had a little nibble at it again. And he kind of with a wee smile. And it was like,
there was a smile. There was almost a wink of the eye. It couldn't be any more obvious. Everybody in this room knows what we're talking about.
It was almost like, how far can I actually go here? Listen, it was 32 minutes of basically back me or sack me from Brendan Rodgers. That's what it basically amounted to. It was genius. I mean, he said, it's just the first time he's really actually said, I would love to stay longer. I mean, for 2.5 years, it's been, we'll wait and see, we'll wait and see how it goes. It's not really on my thoughts now. It's the first time he's actually come out and said, no, I'd love to stay here longer. So right away, that's an intake of breath. Well, that's a new thing. And he says, but the caveat is basically the club have to match his ambition and align with his vision. But the statement that was put out earlier in the week completely contradicts that vision. It was we need to be careful. We can't spend this money because UEFA might get us into trouble, even though we've got 100 million quid in the bank, it looks like, coming up. So it kind of contradicted the statement. So it's hard to see those things aligning. So therefore, what Rodgers has done, he's given himself a kind of ultimate out. If at the end of the season he says Ramovski, he can say, well, I did say I would stay if they were going to align with my vision, and it's not quite worked out that way. Yeah. So I wish you all the best, and I'll get myself a scarf, and I'll see you for the 10th reunion or whatever it is in 10 years' time or something like that. So he has given himself that kind of outball, which is really shrewd as well. Do you know what I mean? Because he's completely rehabilitated himself in terms of the eyes of the fans. I wrote at the weekend that we thought it was the battle lines were drawn. It was either the board or the fans. I think Rodgers claimed an island of his own in between, planted his flag, and the fans have gone to him. So it was really, really shrewd. I mean, it boxed the Celtic board in a bit of a corner, because if he does walk at the end of the season or before that, if something happens before that, it's basically you're going to let the second most successful manager in the club's history, the best since Jock Stein in terms of trophies, walk out the door because you weren't going to match his ambition. And it's like, if you sack him, it's like, well, you sack for what? Because he wants Celtic to be as best they possibly can be, spend some money. I mean, he's boxing in a bit of a corner.
Totally has, Mike.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know, if I'm perfectly honest, I think it's a bit sad. I think it's a bit unedifying that these two guys, you know, when you think about what Peter Lawwell has contributed and the trophies that have piled up during his stints, both as chief executive and chairman, then you get Brendan Rodgers, an excellent manager, who continues to you know, keep Celtic at the top of the pile in the Scottish domestic scene at least, and wants to do better and wants to improve. And these two guys, and it kind of feels like it's the shootout now, you know, and one of their heads is going to have to roll. I find that unfortunate. I don't know if it had to get to this point, but the way that Celtic have created such a mess on their own doorstep has kind of shoehorned them both into this position.
Yeah, listen, I don't doubt that Brendan Rodgers is also high maintenance. I mean, it's like having a kind of glamour girlfriend, isn't it? like if you can't have the girl on the arm and not have to go and buy her some diamonds down again. Do you know what I mean? So I think it can be difficult, especially a club like Celtic who are so cautious. And listen, they'll say, listen, they've won 13 titles out of 14, countless trebles, and dominated in Scotland. So they can say that. And listen, they're going to post figures, I think, probably in the next 10 days.
That's going to be another lightning rod, isn't
it? But that's the thing. We're now at the stage. I mean, I mentioned before, I was in Rotterdam, the Feyenoord game a couple of years ago, and Celtic's best ever financial figures were released during a press conference or even the game. They were sneaked out the door. It was almost like embarrassed. It was the best figures they've ever had. It was 77 million quid in the bank. And I think the whispers I'm hearing is that they could be close to 100 million quid sitting in the bank. And that's going to
please no one.
This money is a major problem for Celtic. Mm-hmm. It's a noose around their neck. It really is. It's a weight bearing down on them, because anything that goes wrong at any point in time is going to be, why is this happening when that money's sitting there doing nothing? Yeah. It's not getting spent on the squad. It's not getting spent on the stadium. It's not built. I mean, all right, they built Barrowfield. I'm not sure it's up and running yet. But you're like, what is this money actually doing? And this rainy day excuse that's rolled out all the time. Well, listen, unless it's an absolute, I mean, that's what the phrase used. It's not a monsoon. I mean, that money should be for the betterment of the squad. And what's going to happen this season? And I still think that's a good result at the weekend. I think that the scenes at the end and all that stuff. But I still think there's major problems with the squad. It's imbalanced. Obviously some of the new recruits did really well at the weekend, but I think there's still issues in that squad that are going to be exposed, especially in Europe. And every time there's a bump in the road, every time there's a defeat in Europe or at home, or anything that goes wrong at any point in time, that money is going to be still sitting there, just like the elephant in the room. Do you know what I mean?
It's a problem. It's definitely it's a credibility problem. And then, by the way, just as you're saying, and almost manufactured this situation where even when they do right, they'll be criticised for something. I'm thinking, you look at the weekend there, Mick, you were there at Rugby Park, and we'll go on to the football, and we're going to bring in Des Roache in a minute to talk about some of the decisions over the weekend by officials. But I was looking at the performance of Tenecti at the weekend, and you're thinking, why did it take so long to get that deal done?
Well, Brendan Rodgers said the exact
he looks like a player. He looks as if he can make a major contribution. Why wasn't he there weeks ago, months ago?
Yeah, but this is what Brendan Rodgers made the exact same point. He actually said, that's what he said after the game. I mean, it pretty much said, well, I mean, yeah, look how good he is. We could have done with him against a team playing 10 men behind the ball in Europe. A ball standard team from Kazakhstan who wanted to try to put from penalties for the first minute at Parkhead in the first leg. We could have done with this kind of magic. So he said the same thing. It was like the old bullseye joke, isn't it? Come out to the ball and speedboat. Here's what could have won, and that is so. Like Celtic they are kind of snooker, because if they go and play really well, and you guys hit the ground and play superb, fast flowing football,
it's another club to beat the board with.
These guys should be in the door, especially. I mean, Tinecti got £5 million. Could have had him a month earlier. Never happened. Balak Weshaw, they're trying to buy him for 18 months. I don't think he's a great start right enough, but you've got to give the guy a chance to settle in. Sirachi, again, a lone left back, a decent performance at the weekend. I thought he looked pretty good. He looked pretty tidy. But certainly the left back for the qualifier, because Kieran Tierney couldn't play 90 minutes. All things that are done after the event, and it's the ship is sailed. So the anger's not going to go away, fans, and it's. I think it will start to fade. I mean, seen the protest, and it was. Listen, half the stand were outside at kick-off, so they made their point known. There was a chance, the banners, the anger's still there. Even the ones in the stand, right? I mean, people will try and paint it like it's a division, or these fans that are in the ground are backing the board or the leadership. That's not the case. Just these guys want to go and these folk want to go and see football, and they don't like getting told sometimes by online movements, and you need to go and do this. I get that. So just because they're in the ground doesn't mean they're team board. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I see that disappointment and anger isn't going to go away, because they've still paid their money for season tickets. They're still asked to stump up for Europa League and the countless strips and merchandise and all that stuff. And they're still thinking that the money should be spent way before it has been.
Yeah, and when they see what the numbers look like, Mick, you're right. They'll be steaming out their ears all over.
Well, it's going to be a problem. I can't wait to see what time they put them out. It could be maybe like
1 o'clock in the morning.
Might be in the 3 o'clock in the morning. We're coming back from Belgrade or something like that. It might not go online. They might just nail it to a door on Easter Island somewhere and give folk the coordinates to go and sit.
That's as we've done our bit legally. We've obliged.
It's written in a scrap bit of paper and left on going. What do you call it? Papua New
Thanks for all your comments, guys. Apart from this one, Celtic88 says Daily Record would be nothing without Mick Gannon. I don't know where or why he's decided to post that, but
that to the gaffer, please. Forward that to the boss.
Right, I tell you what, we would be nothing without on a Monday night, and that is our resident referee, Des Roache. Des, how are you?
I'm good, guys. Just sitting, listening along to yous, and quite enjoying it. So,
what a perfect way to spend a Monday evening.
That's it. Sorry to interrupt the festival.
No, you're not sorry, and I'm not sorry. I mentioned in last night's show, Des, that we'd a communication during the game that Mick was at Rugby Park, and you were very strong on the decision to award Celtic with the last minute penalty or injury time. Shocking, I think you said, and maybe even words harsher than that. 24 hours later, are you still of the same view?
I'm entirely of the same view. I think it was a shocking, appalling decision to be made. I think Willie's doubling down and going back on everything that he said over the past couple of years since he's taken over, saying that he wants more football understanding, football decisions being made. That's not a football decision being made there. Now, if the ball had come up off Mayo's leg and hit him, I could maybe have a bit more understanding because he's in control of his own leg there. But it's came off a teammate that he's got no control over. So how is he meant to anticipate where it's meant to be? And I really think that John Beaton should have had enough courage and conviction in himself to go across to that camera, look at it and say, no, I'm not accepting that. I've like us all, we've both been in work today. Same with Mick. I still yet to find anybody who supports that as a penalty kick.
Oh, you'll find a few on here. Just
says
Stonewall penalty.
Is his arm not a non-natural? I must admit, I was there, right? It happened very quickly. We were obviously at the back of the stand with no cameras, no TV pictures, so I couldn't see what was going on. They subsequently see the replays. I mean, it looks as though he's trying to put his hands up. He thinks he's hitting his own man.
That's what I think. Mayo looks as if he's going to bang into D's and the arms come up. Yeah.
It's planned off D's. It's hit him in the arm. I don't even think the ball's going goalward either, to be honest with you. I mean, it just looked unbelievably harsh. It just looked, I mean, I must admit, I mean, I'm usually trying to play devil's advocate. I mean, like, I can't see any case how that can possibly be a penalty kick.
No, but Des, here's the worry for me: the protocol involved. The Matthew McDermott is sitting in the VAR studio. What's the correct protocol? Because none of that felt right to me.
Be very harsh. See the fact Matthew McDermott's calling you across. That'd be the first howler for me to say, I don't want to take that advice.
Oh, shots fired.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. Well, listen,
I agree though. I agree. I think you're right. But talk me through the protocol. If you're the ref, you're out there, you've got VAR, they're in your ear. Are you not saying, well, you can see the pictures? Why? Yeah. What are you asking me to do?
100% correct. Yes. That at no point is that intentional, is it unnatural, is his arms out to deny a obvious goal scoring opportunity, there is just nothing there that should qualify that as a penalty kick. And what I also found quite intriguing was that we had put out a post on social media. Within 10 minutes, the Scottish FA had put something out to the two
justifying it
to try and justify it.
I found that strange.
Yeah, I found that very strange. And obviously, if that's getting put out, then Willie Collins had to sanction it to allow that to go out as well, and that goes against everything that he's done. You said you were at a briefing.
Yeah, I was.
Stuart Kettlewell.
And I'm wondering why he was at the briefing now, to be perfectly frank, Des. Because, if you call this meeting, and they had one with the managers, and they had one with the media, and they had one with players, and if you're going to call these meetings, and you're going to put together video packages to highlight exactly what you can expect from the referees this season, honestly, I'm completely baffled. And the fact that you're right, Des, the fact that the SFA kind of justified it with a statement so soon after the event on Sunday would suggest, at the very least, that Willie Collins was backing John Beaton and Matthew McDermott there.
I don't think for a minute that he would come out publicly and not back them. What he might say in private might be entirely different. But again, that would be disingenuous, because what he's got to do is he's got to address the football in public. You can't treat us for fools. You can't treat the guys who are paying their money, the guys who are paying the subscriptions. I don't think you would get very many people would agree with that. And I think, listen, you can disagree with me. You can disagree with my opinions. I'll give you an opinion. I'll give you an honest opinion. It's not biased. It's not get any sway to any angle. Yes. And that's why, obviously, I'm quite happy to come on forums like this. But I just find that totally disingenuous if they can try and back that up. We watch these Willie Vision, as we call it, with his review, and I'm sorry, if he says that he's using these as coaching methods, then his coaching's not very good.
I'm going to ask you a question, Mick, because
please don't use the phrase Willie Visions again, so you get me cancelled.
And we've all been there before.
Don't say anything. Don't
Mick, no, I'm going to ask you a question, right? Because you've been at plenty of games already this season. Another part of that meeting that we were all called on to handle for, and I actually enjoyed it, and I was grateful for the opportunity to ask questions and have a discussion.
Yeah.
But one of the major talking points, one of the things that Willie Collins seemed really keen to promote was this sort of tweak to the rules, Des, in terms of a goalkeeper can't have the ball in his hands without distributing it for longer than 8 seconds, and if he does do that, and guilty of time wasting, it'll be punishable by a corner kick to the opposition. I was actually really looking forward to seeing this rolled out and implemented. Mick, I'm asking you, how many games you've been at already this season? It'll be double digits. Have you seen even a referee gesturing towards a goalkeeper because it was meant to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the countdown and all this? I've not seen any evidence. It's almost like somebody's taking the old Men in Black memory pen to the referees or to Willie Collins. It's almost like that conversation didn't exist.
To be honest with you, I actually had forgotten that had been. I forgot that was rolled out.
I was quite excited about it.
Because I actually, games I've been to, I'm mostly doing the Celtic stuff, and the Celtic beat this season. They missed them on the first game of the season. But actually, 2 European games they kind of with Carrier. They were wasting time from the first minute at Celtic Park. That kind of stuff. Yeah, that's something that I've not even forgot about, to be honest with you. I was just surprised on Sunday. I thought, John Bean's an experienced referee, and he would have the guts to overturn a VAR call in his own mind. I just thought, it seemed to me, I don't know what it was like watching the TV, because it was always different when you're there live. It felt as though they came to the conclusion quite quickly.
Yeah.
And the pictures that we were seeing afterwards didn't look that conclusive to make that decision that quickly. I don't know. I know, listen, we all moan about how long it takes to make these decisions, right? But it's the 93rd minute of the game. It's the last kick of the ball. I don't think anyone could play if we take an extra minute or so to think, well, we need to get this right, because this is going to decide the points here. I just think it seemed to came quite quickly. I don't know if that's like. I just think, I don't know if he's maybe been influenced by the VAR and it's been quite quick. And I don't know. It just seemed to me that it was a snap decision and it was looked to me as like the wrong one. But I don't know. It did seem strange. I agree with you, Keith. I've been at these briefings before. Pre-season briefings are great. But you tend to see clips of penalty kicks that are penalties and you think, I don't know if that's a penalty kick either. So especially the handball they've never really got it nailed down, have they?
I thought they made progress on it.
Yeah.
Des, would you agree? I thought there were times last season when you thought, I actually think they've gotten top of this now. This looks like it makes a lot more sense. And then all of a sudden we start off the season with incidents like that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would concur that if it's strikingly obvious that you see something that doesn't look right, then that's generally the correct answer. When you've got the ambiguity of thinking, how did that come about? Then that, in my opinion, that should then negate it. When you're talking about the goalkeeper there with taking the 8 seconds, do you remember a couple of years ago where the big crackdown on shirt pulling? And it was maybe about the first 4 or 5 weeks.
It was penalties,
and it just dissipated.
All over the shop. Yeah,
it just dissipated. And I think that's what's going to go down the route with the 8 seconds. Never know. We've spoke
it's
tonight.
already happened. It's like the discussion never took place. And for the life of me, I'm struggling to understand why we were all pulled in and told, "Oh, wait to see this," and then you get quite excited. You think, "Oh, that could create some big moments." But
yeah, but
hasn't happened.
No, to go back to the handball ruling. I've always been very, very consistent that a handball should be given when it's deliberate. It's an unnatural position. You're doing it to gain an advantage. You're doing it to stop the opposition progressing. If you're getting the ball, to use an old Glasgow word, bluttered at you from 2 yards and it's coming off Mick Gannon's foot and it hits me, who's within 1 yard of him, where am I meant to be? What am I meant to do? And as we've said as well, alluded to, it looks as if he's actually trying to stop a collision between him and his teammate.
Yeah, that was my view. Yeah. Right, Des, we've got other incidents from the weekend that need aired and discussed, and I want your view on.
Okay.
Let's go to Ibrox the previous day. 3 incidents. Now, I felt that Russell Martin was miles out in trying to deflect and say that ultimately decisions cost his team the game. They didn't. Let's be very clear on that. Hearts were the better team and got exactly what they deserved from the game.
Yeah.
But it is fair to say there were 3 big decisions in the match. Which were potentially outcome changing. First, the Shankland opening goal, brilliantly taken, brilliantly worked, but you can't escape the fact that he clearly handballs it and into his own stride as he's coming across the halfway line and setting Hearts off on the counter. Surprised at that one, or right or wrong, Des?
Oh, it's wrong. It's a handball, and Shankland has. He's gained the advantage from it because he's created an attacking opportunity, which he's then scored. Stephen McLean, don't know why he didn't get it right at the moment in time, because he did seem to have a pretty decent view of it. But that's why VAR's there, and VAR should be picking that up. It was Greg Aitken who was the VAR on that occasion. So yeah, it was a handball. It was a wrong decision.
Okay. Next one for you then, because it's been explained apparently that it was 2 different phases. The handball, how's that? I don't understand that one. I'm not saying love me, I'm thick, but I don't understand how that can be separated down and put into 2 different phases of play.
I totally agree, because the attacking phase of play comes because Shankland has made control of that ball and then passed it on. So for me, that is the start of the attacking phase of play. So we've seen it last year at St Mirren, where a goal was chopped off when a foul was committed in St Mirren's own half. So no, I can't agree with that at all. That's a wrong decision. Shankland has controlled the ball by the use of his arm, and he's started the attacking phase of play.
I think what you can say, Michael, is that as big an impact on that move though was Mohamed Diamandi deciding to run to the half-time stall, or to the stall in the back of the Brimland for a pie. So I don't know what he was doing when Shankland was moving through, and so you can analyse the referee's part in all this, but I don't think Rangers can use it as a deflection.
Yeah, but I think the player's reaction, I think actually when he scored, he's telling his teammates, "Oh, I've handled it. Don't go overboard with celebrations." He was almost kind of like saying,
"VAR's going to get us.
We're going to look a bit embarrassed in a second here." He was trying to cool it down, wasn't he? Then he comes out afterwards and says, "Yeah, I hit my hand. I was surprised they gave it." So I think that one was like we say, we talk about phases of play, but there isn't another phase to analyse unless there's a handball. So that started the attacking phase. It should have been
weird.
It should
weird,
have been
and I don't like it, Des, because I felt we were hopeful that we were moving into territory where the SFA would come out, Willie Collin would come out and explain things, and we'd probably have a better understanding. None of this is making sense. This has been a bad weekend. I'm going to take you, well, before we leave that game at Ibrox, the Hearts got a penalty late on. Shankland got his second goal from it. Correct decision, Des?
This is probably the most ambiguous one. Millen's moving at pace. I know it's difficult to keep your balance. Has Diamandi done enough to put him over? I would say no. I think that was an error as well.
Okay, but if the referee, and you could understand completely why it might look like it at full speed, does VAR overrule that, or should VAR overrule it? No,
I think that you've got, because of the ambiguity on it, I think you need to take the referee at the face value on that one. I'm not saying it's not the worst decision in the world. It's not the bet. I just think that is the one that's probably got the most dubiety over it.
Right, so basically what you're saying is the referees have decided they want Russell Martin out as well.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I thought a disallowed goal for Rangers was the other one.
I thought that was a goal.
Yeah.
You thought that was a goal?
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper was having as much contact with Asgard as they were each, and I think when you see it, I don't think the keeper even complained about it.
See, yeah, as a old retired
goalie, we know what's coming here.
The goalie union.
He's got his hand in his throat in that picture there. He's got him with the chops. That's got to be a free kick, surely.
Aye, but look at the goalkeeper. He's got two hands round his shoulder.
His right leg's right across him as well, so he's impeding him, and he's got him with the throat. It's practically.
I thought Asgard initiated it, the contact between the two. I thought Asgard initiated, but I don't think it was much, and I think the Hearts keeper's got to be stronger there, Mick. Come on.
Forget VAR. I'd be phoning the police, to be honest with you, with that kind of assault.
Mick, you would have had Asgard on the floor in a suplex. That was coming to you.
Have you seen me play this?
Thankfully, no.
Right. Wait, I use my weight, threw my weight around.
That was the big decisions at Ibrox, but there were two other decisions at the weekend, Des, and I need your opinion. Yours too, Michael. I mean, I don't know where we're going here. Did you see Dundee United defender Vico Sevelj getting sent off in the game against Hibs?
Yeah, I think.
Talk me through it.
I can't talk you through it because Dan McFarlane, and it was John Beaton who was VAR at the time, so Beaton who's ultimately made it.
Cracking weekend.
Hi, he's a good weekend. I can understand why he's giving it, because his arms are more unnatural position than the Kilmarnock player. Is it the worst? No, I think it's harsh, but I can understand it. Is that a red card? I think that was extremely harsh.
This is what I've sat there and I couldn't actually believe what I was watching.
Mm-hmm. No, I can understand that. I didn't think it was the worst, but under the current climate and you're seeing what's going on, okay, I can accept it. It's not my decision, but I can accept it.
Would you give him the penalty?
Probably not, to be fair.
Mick?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we're taking out the kind of the RJ Bargy aspect of the game, and there's folk bumping about each other in that box, wasn't there? There's limbs and bodies flailing everywhere.
And that's what I say. It should be deliberate.
Yeah.
It should be deliberate. It should be doing it to stop an attacking moment, to stop a goal. So, see, when you're that close, what are you meant to do?
Yeah.
What are you meant to do?
Right. Before we move on, messages are flying in as usual. One here for you, Des. Chris Fraser concerned. Please free Des. And yeah, Paul Brady says, I think we should start a collection to keep Des hostage.
Oh,
Right, they're a nice bunch, aren't they? And that brings us on, Des. Final question for you. Jan Danda's red card. Talk me through what have we seen there?
I've got no idea. From what I've seen was that Jan Danda, the only thing I can think they've seen is he's got a straight leg. But, yeah, but for me, no, because he was in total control of the challenge.
There was no aggression. It wasn't reckless. It was, as you said, the word control, Des. He was in complete control. I think his studs might have been going towards the ball, which they were. I think that the angle of his foot meant that his studs were going to make contact with the ball.
True, yeah.
But there was no aggression. There was no recklessness. There was no intent.
There was. So when you look at it, you look for speed, ferocity, intent, endangering the safety of an opponent. None of those are ticked. So for me, it was just a challenge, totally in control. If he'd got a yellow card, okay, probably a bit harsh, but accept it. But it's certainly not a red card.
Mike,
I don't like to agree all the time, but I'm
difficult not doing it.
Listen, Jan Danda's not a guy who's. I mean,
I know, hatchet man, Jan Danda.
A lovely football player, but he usually can't tackle a first supper. There certainly wasn't any malice in it. I mean, he's maybe overreached a bit. And you again, still pictures. You think, oh, if he lands with that, it's a sore one. Never wasn't a sore one. It was nothing in it. It lost a booking, move on. I don't like seeing guys sent off for that kind of stuff. And it's
all right, guys. Well, listen, we've gone well into injury time tonight. So thanks very much, Mick, for sticking with us. Thank you very much, Des, for coming on. Thank you very much, everybody that's got in touch, watched at home, sent in comments. Doesn't work without you, this show. And hopefully you'll join us tomorrow night back at 6 o'clock for the next edition of Daily Record Hotline Live. Guys, thanks. Everyone back home, thank you.